Closing it too.
Well, I'm right here with you, so.
Okay. Easy way.
Could you hold that back, Mike? I got my very own copy. So thank you. Yep.
Okay, that goes like that. That'll go like that. Live stream, got it. I did it. Okay.
I think I took your packet, Dave. Got a lot of original
Yes,
stuff.
you took my packet.
There wasn't one
You've been
laying
looking-
here for
you-
mine.
You've been looking at my private stuff there.
Well, I just gave half of it away.
I'm
so.
not sure. if
Yeah.
it's Town, it's private.
No, it's public.
No, my confidential notes are mine.
It'd be so confidential anymore.
Well, because it's got the attorney's name on it, so it's confidential.
Okay.
See?
I have one piece of confidential information.
Yeah, just make sure. Well, I think I got the dog thing.
It's only confidential until I tell you about it later.
Yeah.
Don't steal his thunder.
I do. I just need to total them. Yep, that one we did already, and I totaled that one. Oh, that's just mine. I just threw it there.
You give us this all the time.
I can, thank you very much.
Well, it's not supposed. 070
We'll do it every
now.
month. We already
Every
signed
time. I bring you the
Okay.
checkbook, but it's never right. That tells you I'm not funneling money. in there.
See?
I was gonna say, she's
I'm
coming
not
from
funneling
Boston.
money.
I don't care if there's a zero balance at all. I'm covering my behind.
This is the price of the work.
We don't have
Tonight, we
to-
have it, no?
You send one that's over signed.
Here's
There's
scams.
one right in front of you. Lauren, now I gotta find one. You're getting so damn demanding.
Try.
Good Lord.
Isn't there any extra over there on the table?
I got one on here.
Here,
There, we got it.
any questions you're gonna have to answer? Right, print out in this package.
Do you want this back after everyone signs it? Oh, you signed already? I'll send it
Oh,
over.
what around here? You said. Jeez.
Can I put on your, put on your, in your packet, the stimulus funds there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe I took yours, Dave.
Took mine too?
I don't need it.
Please.
She's taking everything tonight.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, maybe that was it right there. Oh, well, sorry, can't have it. Mine now.
So you're trying to tell us something? You want to be the new town supervisor?
I didn't say that.
I tried to pay a few people, but they wouldn't take it.
What's that?
I tried to pay people to take it, they wouldn't.
Send that down to Mike. We can put the supervisor's report in it.
Why?
Why?
Oh,
Does
there's one we signed.
That
I
one goes
signed
back
it.
to me.
Oh, that goes back to you. Sorry, my bad.
That goes to Kim.
Geez, this is the first time you ever been to a board meeting?
Yes.
Now,
Yes,
who does
it
this
is.
go to? This goes back to Tim.
Yes.
Where does that go?
Leave it alone.
I'm moving that. forward,
See,
right?
see, everybody's got it.
Is there a phone booth?
Yes, I think there is.
Well, they are saying because of COVID now, people have been away from the workplaces for so long, they don't have the work etiquette anymore, and people are like snapping at each other.
Who's been away from work?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
like people down in the city and
Oh,
all
I was gonna say, because everybody wants beer. And I have to go to work every day.
You gotta put air conditioning in here. It's too hot in here.
Oh, I opened up these, but here, Artie, open up that one there, would you? Or Herb? Let's Mayor go this way.
that. Well, we can use that code money for that, right?
Thanks.
As long as the filtration system.
Maybe.
That's what I'm saying, the filtration system on it.
Maybe next year.
Next year,
Next year's part of it.
there we go.
There.
We're pretty well committed on this year's.
No, right.
Yeah, go hook right to the furnace.
Yeah, because we have one at home, love it. Don't have to have it on too cold, just set it on like 72. It's nice
All
and
kind of
comfy.
news, everything that you gotta do.
Yep,
And that's it.
that it takes
No,
the
you
crankiness
said-
away.
So at 78, it costs 15% less electricity.
So who wants to set it at 78?
Getting old.
You mean the heat or the?
I call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. Oh, you have someone coming in? We do. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In case of fire or other emergency, there's 3 exits to this room, there. In case of such emergency, please proceed to the nearest exit. And then clear the building so people in rescue squad, emergency squad, whoever is doing this can do their job. Thank you. First order of business. Becky, you stole my agenda too. So this is really something. I don't think I've seen this since I started doing memorials. We actually had 4 residents die and 2 people who were related to residents in Hampton. One Hazel Mestian owned quite a bit of property in Hampton. Her son still lives up on Hickey Road. So 2 of them are very tragic accidents. Jeremy Spalding, who also knew, who we all knew of and knew. And Jerry Lober, who has been in Hampton for 6 years, and God, he was 69 years old for seeing 6 years, only being here 6 years. God, he knew everyone in the freaking world. So it was really surprising. He was a retired fire captain from Waterbury. I saw his mother-in-law last night at the wake, and she said, "We're just like that in Waterbury. Everyone in the world knew him." So anyhow, Ethel Garrick, of course, is Tammy's mother. And Charlotte Burney lived up on up by you. Carver's Falls Lane, yes. And
She died a couple months ago.
I just got July.
Yeah.
What's been since our last meeting? I think it was a couple days afterwards. The other one was Celestine Ann Rose, Celestine Ann LaRose, related to Cam. And
So wasn't Jeremy mentioned?
oh, Jeremy was too.
Was, couldn't shake one, yeah.
Celestine, and also my wife. So she was a long-term resident of Hampton, and family has been years. And the Weinsteins, Weinbergs. No, it wasn't Weinbergs. Wisner, got it, Wisner, sorry. So Wisner's had 14 kids, and that's why this place is populated with us. Not me, but our families, so we'll see. So please take a few minutes to remember them in your own way. Thank you. I need a resolution to adopt the minute meetings as mailed.
Next resolution to adopt the meeting minutes as mailed.
Resolution, Mr. Sadie, do I have a second? Mr. Trinka, you beat you to it. And Andrea. Any omissions, corrections? All in favor?
Are you doing both sets?
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next order of business is lot line adjustment. Ms. Holly has lot line adjustment.
Here's the application and the seeker,
Okay.
and I got copies of everybody else, plus my own.
So,
I hadn't really known.
Put it right up there for Don. Just watch your drink, Andrea. That's the Mylar.
Good, thank you. You guys did it before. And when they went back, when we were trying to, because here's my part now, when it was subdivided before. When we went back to try to do the description for the deed back here, it didn't match up with the deed prior to when we bought the property. So they couldn't figure out for the longest time what was going on, why none of these numbers jive. What it amounted to is, see, here's where the original line was. It needed to come over 10 feet. But the survey nobody ever found any of this when they were looking at deeds or whatever. So that's all it's doing, it's moving. No, this line here, this is the new line, the heavy dark one.
How did we realize that? Who brought this to our attention?
When I went to Matt Fuller to have him draw a deed, he couldn't draw a deed because none of the measurements lined up. So I went to John Grady and said, there's a real problem here, but we can't figure out what it is. Because we kept running numbers from the deed we had, and it was back prior to a deed that Connie had. So it should have been found when Frank Kingsley was the attorney for Connie.
This is Bonnie's property.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was this whole thing. So I couldn't get a deed to transfer this. I mean, I have a deposit on the property, but I can't do it.
So you're trying to sell this piece of property.
Right. Yeah. And what I want to do, because this property, this property was, the half of it was quit claim to me. But when they quit claim you something, they just give you a piece of paper that says you now own the whole thing. Nobody has a new deed. So I still just had that old deed. And
So there is.
What's the access when you do to this piece of property?
that's why this is here. So when I had it surveyed originally, that's what this was for, because back here is the 49 acres.
But this is all staying the same.
Yeah, that's
That's
why.
all it's staying
Yeah.
exactly the same.
That's my house.
Okay.
Not the yours.
Okay.
So that's what it is.
That's good
And I
news.
can go back to Matt Fuller, and what I wanted to do then is draw the deed for this one with the coordinates that John is going to do the description.
Yep.
But I also wanted to do this description now for me, so I have an actual deed.
So who owns the property next door that you're stealing the 10 feet from?
This one?
Yeah.
Ray Parrott.
Okay.
He knows all.
Actually, are you stealing it from him or he's
No,
gaining?
he's
gaining.
He's gaining.
She's losing 10
I'm
feet.
losing 10
This
feet.
is not her property. It's coming.
Oh,
this
okay.
way.
I thought it was the other way.
No.
Okay.
So there's no opposition to this. It's all.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
He
no.
has a copy of the other, and he just kept saying, it doesn't matter, just leave. I said, I gotta have a deed. I can't transfer a property without a deed.
I'm-
So you're gonna get this extra space.
I'm opposed to it
You are.
Yeah.
Why?
because I have to read this damn thing.
I would.
You're the one that
Whoops, I'm
told me
sorry,
I had
Mike.
to do the secret, so it's your
If,
problem.
if it was
It's
the
the
other
state's
way,
problem, not me.
If you were gaining the 10 feet the full length and the other guy didn't show it, then I would show it.
Oh, yeah,
You're Giving
yeah.
up 10 feet, so I wasn't
No.
even in the.
No, Ray he had
Okay.
one of the original ones. We've been talking about this for a long time. So. Yeah, he got it actually further this way, away from his barn, so.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have a special Mylar pen? for when we
Oh,
get
no, I
ready to-
gotta go get one.
I'll start reading this anyway.
And I didn't know if this part goes to you guys or whatever. He gave me that too.
Done.
Just need that. You have copies of the Mylar?
No, I just got, yeah, I got copies here, so. I
Okay,
don't-
Becky's gonna need a copy.
I just need one, please.
One?
Bonnie. Yeah.
Get done with it.
You need to have Mr. Parrott sign it.
Oh, I'm gonna give him one, so he
No, he needs to
knows.
sign one for us.
Oh, stop it.
All right, let's get going.
Matt, we're trying to just find
All right.
it.
Get going here. Got a seeker for boundary line adjustment on lot 1650 County Route 21, Low boundary adjustment 10 foot along east boundary. I'm not gonna read her name again. Does proposed action only involve legislation adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation? No. Does the proposed action require permit approval or funding from other government agency? No. Total acres of site proposed action is 49.91 acres. Total acres to be physically disturbed. Technically, that should be the 10 foot,
Right, the 10 foot strip.
10 foot strip.
And it has actually that, it should have the acreage or whatever it is in that.
It does,
22
does-
acres or something.
Mine is just 158, like 4 feet. It's saying 158, 158.44 feet. 158. This is really messing me up.
Right up here, right up here.
0.2 acres.
Okay, thank you. Gotta be correct.
I know.
One day when I'm dead and gone, somebody in there looking to make that
Yeah.
change.
'Cause I didn't
Okay,
see-
check all land uses that occur on or adjoining near the proposed action, rural, residential, forest and agriculture. Is the proposed action a permitted use under the zoning regulations? Technically, that should be NA because we do not have any zoning regulations. Consistent with adopted comprehensive plan, NA, because we don't have one. Is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of existing built or natural landscape? Yes. Is the site of proposed action located in or does it adjoin a state listed critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in substantial increase in traffic among above present levels? No. Are public transportation services available at or near the site of proposed action? No. Are any pedestrian accommodations or bicycle routes available? Bicycle routes available on or near the site of proposed action? No. Does the proposed action meet or exceed the state energy code requirements? No. Will the proposed action connect to an existing public-private water supply? No. If no, it's no. Does the project site contain or is it substantially contiguous to a building, archaeological site or district which is located on the National or State Register of Historic Places? Or that has been determined by the Commission of New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the State Register of Historic Sites? No. Is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designed as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Preservation Office archaeological site inventory? No. Does any portion of the site of the proposed action or lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or other water bodies regulated by federal, state, or local agency? No. Would the proposed action physically alter or encroach into any existing wetland or water body? No. Identify the typical habitat types that occur on or are likely to be found on the project site. Check all that apply. Forest, agricultural, and newly it's wetland and shoreline. Does the site of proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? Is a project site located in the 100-year floodplain? No. Proposed action creates stormwater discharge either from point or non-point sources? No. Will stormwater discharges flow to adjacent properties? No. Will stormwater discharges be directed to established conveyance systems, runoff, and storm drains? No. Does the proposed action include construction or other activities that result in the impoundment of water or other liquids, e.g. retention pond, waste lagoon, dam? No. Has the site of proposed action adjoining property been the location of an active or closed solid waste management facility? No. Has the site of proposed action or adjoining property been the subject of remediation ongoing with completed from hazardous waste? No. Applicant assigned this as the owner on August 17, 2021. It's the short environmental form. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with adopted land use planning or zoning regulations? No. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of the land? Is he going to build a house on it?
It's gonna build a house, yeah.
Yeah, but not yet. It's not,
No.
as far as Bonnie knows.
Yeah, there's nothing on
She
it.
just told us. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No. Proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental CEA? No. Proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure, mass transit, biking, or walkway? No. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation and renewable energy opportunities? No. Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies? No. Public-private wastewater treatment facilities? No. Utilities? No. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historical, archaeological, agricultural, or aesthetic resources? No. Proposed action result in adverse change to natural resources, e.g. wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora and fauna? No. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No. Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No. There is no determination of significance. The answer to the checkbox question is check this box and determine based on the information analysis above and any supporting documentation that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. Town of Hampton. While I'm doing this, I'll need a resignation.
I'll make the resolution. I'll make the resignation to, I'll make the resolution to accept the negative declaration.
Do I have a second on that, please?
I'll second.
Second by Andrea. All in favor?
I'll make the resolution to accept the property line adjustment back on Holly.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Sign.
Stephen, he's the guy who built that.
He's moving back up here?
No, he's not. He said he's-
No, I was just gonna say, he's moving back up here. I thought he was living in Florida.
No, it's not.
You don't have them.
He's selling his house.
Have what?
Paper clips. That's
I
what-
do not have
Okay.
I used to work with Steve at Fesco's.
Yeah, he always likes
Not
that. Way
have
back there. I don't like-
All right, next order of business, lot line adjustment is done. I would suggest that we waive the fee for Ms. Holly. Motion by Andrew, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Sadie, any objections? All in favor? Carried. Dog control officer. Dog control officer, a complaint regarding potential unsafe environmental conditions for a dog chained out without shelter and water source. Investigated the home on and did not observe any unsafe conditions. No one was home and there was a fenced area with a suitable dog house. No dog was out. We'll do a random check for compliance. No further action this time. That's taken care of. Tax collector, got a check for me for 98 cents.
Nothing. We spent some money from copies of their receipts. That's all I
Thank you. Planning board,
had.
We had our town board, our thing for a meeting last night. Yes. And the things we finally got taken care of, Gray Energy, Gray Terminals, needed to have a new parking lot for their big tanker trucks because they have so many that come in all the time. So they needed space for 4 more of the tanker trucks. They worked with the DEC, and as long as you don't disturb more than 1 acre of land, then you don't have to go through them. You don't get into all that issue with the wastewater. I talked to Ken Ray for quite a long time and then talked to the board. We read through the site plan law, and because he had a permit and he had an amendment to his permit for his new tanks that are out there and his new loaders are out there. This is like if somebody decided to put another parking lot on their house. I mean, there was nothing in the law that said he had to come back and do this again. So we sent him this letter, and this is the letter. After reading through the Hampton site plan law and reviewing the information that was presented with the original application and the amendment, both of which have been approved, we determined that the addition of the truck parking stations do not warrant an additional amendment to the original approval. We appreciated the copy of the plan prepared by LA Group and the fact that you are not disturbing over an acre of land, which would have needed the approval of the DEC. Thank you to you and Brett of the LA Group that kept us advised as to your plans. We wish you much success. Gray Terminals is a wonderful asset to our Hampton community. So that got taken care of.
I do have one question.
Mhm.
What if they end up expanding even more?
If they do other things, if he needs new tanks now more, other than the 2 original ones to be added, he has to come back. If he does something bigger, but right now that's just the parking lot that's right near their other parking lot. And so that's why when I read through it, when the law was written, if you were going to be doing something like a master plan, that could get the whole thing get approved at one time, because he had the tanks and stuff on that original plan. And he's actually from the original thing he had and then added on some parking areas, like he originally had a small building, got a bigger building. There's been a lot of changes that we have worked with there, but until he does something else big.
Well, I was just thinking, what if he comes down in 2 or 3 years and decides that he needs more acreage for a bigger parking lot?
Well, he has a lot
Well,
of,
he's-
yeah, he has a lot of acreage out
So
back
so
there.
would he have to go through the process?
Yes,
Yeah.
again, yeah.
Okay.
And he's very good about it. I have to tell you, he is one of the nicest people to have ever dealt with. Considering what we dealt with the biodiesel people, what we dealt with the people before that. He is the most professional person that I think I've run across in a long, long time. And he does everything you look at his place. He's got flowers blooming out there where they planted them. The place is immaculate. You never see a weed in that place. I mean, it's incredible what he's done. And the taxes he's going to bring to this town is going to be substantial. When it finally is all done.
Jordan Paquette, who works for him, says they're awful bored in the summertime. They gotta find things to do.
Well, they're out there, they weed whack around every tree, every bush and everything, and they mow everything.
Why there's no weeds out there.
I know, I mean, they're absolutely incredible. We also at our meeting last night, we're going to be working on the mobile home law, and we have, and I have emailed to all of you your copies.
I did see
Anyone
that.
who's
I
missing
did
it.
see that.
And we have the things that you gave us, Dave, of what they really wanted us to update, so we will get that done. And then the biggest thing is, we got our $25,000 grant from the Department of Agriculture. And we will start whatever the process is, and that we have to do now. And this is for you, Dave, because it's got the forms or whatever. You read this and see if there's anything I need to do, you can give it to me.
25,000.
Yeah, it's a $25,000 grant. So we were really happy, and it was a lot of work. And I just so somebody understands the work, this is the grant that got written. It's all these pages of stuff. It's all this big in print. I mean, working on their website, I thought I'd kill myself before I got done, because it's like reading kind of like font too, you know. It's like, so we were real happy. We'll see if we can do something good now.
Okay,
That's all.
thank you and have fun doing it.
Bonnie, can I have a copy of that letter that you sent to
Yeah,
Ray?
I got more.
You can send it to me.
No, I'll just give you one again.
Anything else, Bonnie? Any questions for Bonnie? Okay. Highway Superintendent, you're up next.
After a long battle with Peckhams, they finally came back and reclaimed Hickey Road with full depth reclamation at no cost to us. Tyler did the grading and they rolled and put liquid calcium down on it as well. Jimmy did some shared services with Whitehall. We were able to get some free dust from the Zills, and we're going to mix it with our stone. So we use it for the road edge on the new blacktop. We ran a tractor from Capital Tractor for the week and got all the roadside mowing done. The John Deere tractor is still at the peaks. He has the parts and we'll be getting it put back together. Having Jimmy are ditching Manchester Road in preparation for paving. We're getting a county's chipper to clean up the brush along Manchester Road as well. I contacted National Grid about low-hanging tree branches that are in power lines on Crawl Road, and they will send a crew down to take a look at it.
Any word on when they're going to pay?
They will be paving after Labor Day. From intersection with Carver's Falls Lane, where we stopped when we did the other hill, all the way down to where the newer blacktop is on Manchester. So down past Radical Wood, down into that hill. So it's quite a ways, but it's very much needed,
Oh, I know.
very much needed.
Shall we answer? Say sure.
Hopefully, we'll
You don't want to talk to
we'll get it done ASAP.
Well, there's that one spot where you basically have to swerve over off the side of the road.
Whatever, from all the way up through. Probably we won't be doing the ramp going up Radical Woods, because that's all new, but all the way around the corner.
No, it's farther down towards.
I was nice to you, I didn't.
One bridge that spot.
I know we have, Louis is doing,
It's between Spartello's and.
we are gonna do some shimming in some spots there too. There are some spots in that section. We'll be doing some shimming there. Louis is doing from, where they're down the train tracks, they put a big culvert in, that's where we're doing shelters, and they put a new 8-foot culvert in. So he's gonna go on the other side and go up to Carlton Road, that's ours, we own that little stretch of 150 feet. So he's gonna re-blacktop that, so we're gonna repay and we're gonna blacktop parts of his bit that we're gonna be at. So, I mean, everybody, we have to work together to get the stuff done. We are gonna do that corner on Chapman going down. We're gonna shim that goes down the hill, leads to Patty's Path. We go up there, that's gone. So we are gonna shim all that. That's gonna be done. Get as much done as we can.
So, any questions for Herb on this? So I will tell you, the board has some decisions to make. Last year at this time, the highway fund, we had $123,000. But that's given the fact that we just paid $57,000 reimbursable money for paving. Essentially, this year we're at $127,000. Honestly, there's no way with the current budget that we can afford to do any paving. We just don't have cash to outlay. So we also looked at the salaries. I think you need to take a look at your salaries, Herb. Right now, just with Tyler and with just Jimmy, will be $5,000 over budget for salaries. We're way over on budgets. I won't say way over. We're there. We need to look at doing something and have to look at what we're going to do to make sure that we don't go over there. We can make up some, but what really kills us is the $50,000 for that the box. that's where we're at. So we're gonna have to look at the budget very carefully, and any expenditures we have to do, we're gonna have to look at very carefully. Because we need to get through the year and be able to pay people. We have no money after this. What we can do one thing. I did talk to the bank. We could bond the money so we can pay for paving. Interest rates 0.5%. We bond it and pay for it and bring it back. And pay it back could be, I think, 120 days, because right now, if we do paving in September, we submit for reimbursement, we'll get reimbursed until next year. So the board's got to make a decision. I hate to put out paving because paving, number one, the paving needs to be done. Number two, if you delay it another year, it's simply going to be more expensive. Some of the money we have is not, we can't carry over to next year. There's the rollover money from last year in paving and chips. We've got to use that this year. We've got to use emergency weather. We got to use the rollover from Pave New York and emergency weather this year. But I talked to Kim today and asked her to look at the salaries. It's not quite as bad as I thought it was, but it's there. Look at the numbers. It is basically just that cost of that box, which had to be done there. So I think that we need to make a decision. We can bond the money so we can get our paving done. I think that they've been very aggressive in looking at what we can do and very thorough in looking what we have to do. So if it was my recommendation, I recommend that we bond the money, pay for it next year when we get reimbursed, maybe get reimbursed, but I know it won't be before, just on the paving schedule, I know it won't be reimbursed before December 31st, because to get reimbursed by the end of the year, it has to be submitted, I think it's September 15th. No, but that means we have to get the paving done, we have to get the billing done, we have to pay Peckham's, and then we can submit for reimbursement. So
How much is the application to get it bonded?
that'll be somewhere around $1,500, $2,000. I didn't ask the attorney today. I want to run before the board before I did that, but that's what the last bonding we did for what we did,
The truck?
the truck. So
What's the dollar amount?
dollar amount,
Dollar amount for bonding.
I would go with $100,000.
You said the interest rate on $100,000 is gonna be what?
0.5%. So, I mean, possibly if we didn't do that much paving, but we could squeak through, but we have to clean out our equipment fund. Clean out our equipment fund and pay it back later. We're still in the same issue. Is that we, if any drastic happens between now and the end of the year, we don't have the cash to fix it. So that's why it's, this is why it's so important to get our paving done as soon as possible in the year, so we can reimburse and get reimbursed. If we get it submitted by August 15th, the first date, get resubmitted August 15th, get repaid by September 15th.
Well, obviously, he wasn't able to do that because we're such a small town and everybody else was ahead of us.
We put our first call in 15th of May to start getting our paving. Well, between county and Peckham not having any drivers. I mean, Peckham's truck sat because they had no drivers.
There's companies out there that are doing the paving, that got their trucks through the paving.
It's just,
We've got to stop looking at just Peckham. We have to open up. They have substantially hurt themselves and reputation. There are towns that I know the highway superintendents are were very, very close friends. Who are out, I shouldn't say this out loud, who aren't looking at other options for paving companies. 20 years ago, some of these paving companies came to us and said, we'll discount the rate way below, and everyone stayed, the county stayed with Peckham, so. But
It's that loss of drivers, the lack of availability. Is that COVID related?
The biggest thing is 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, Peckham's sold all their trucks. They don't own their own trucks. So they've been relying on people for drivers. Bruce Hewlett, Bruce Hewlett over in West Paul has trucks sitting there because he doesn't have drivers. But it seems though some of the places, some of the paving companies will probably pay a better wage than some of the independents have drivers. Yes, part of the answer is that hopefully that when the unemployment costs go down, the extra unemployment leaves, then that's where, but you gotta look at it.
I was just wondering if it's a COVID loss to us.
Well, I don't want to stretch too much on this. We're stretching already. But no, we
You're
can't.
told no.
Yeah,
Heard that before.
yeah.
If you don't ask the question, it's not a matter.
The problem is paving itself and road repair is not covered under ARPA. Trucks and equipment aren't covered under ARPA. So,
So if we bond the paving, it's gonna be, you don't know exactly how much it's gonna be, but it's gonna be probably, you guys are saying 1,500 to 2,000 to get the bond written. And then 1% of 100,000, 0.5% of $100,000.
by for less than a year, less than half a year. I think 3 months, but I can't say that for sure, maybe 4 months.
I'm under the belief that we can't delay paving. After all, we've talked about it here, and how far behind we are. And to go another year with doing nothing, I think is just, I think I hate to spend the money too, but it was a strange year. 2020 it's caught up to us in 2021. So I'd be in favor, if that's the only option to keep us paving, I'd support it.
The other option is clean all our accounts and not have any extra money to do anything else.
Yeah, that's.
We gotta buy salt, we gotta buy sand for the winter time. I think we salt and sand, yeah. Can't remember anything else you can tell me, but those are the ones at the top of my head.
So I'm saying,
Gas, diesel,
no snow.
I don't have an issue with the bonding, but I don't want to just throw a number out there that we're gonna bond, because if we're spending $100,000 on paving and we're getting reimbursed and we're gonna pay it off, that's fine by me, but if we're bonding $100,000 and we're paying $67,000 that we're gonna get reimbursed and there's $33,000 that's in limbo, I don't know that I'm for that one.
We would just give it back.
We would give it back, but
well, we know how much we'll have to take when we get the bill for payment. Just because we say we're doing $100,000 doesn't mean you have to take 100,000.
get approved for 100,000.
Yeah.
And then pay whatever, it's 76,000 or whatever it happens to be.
Well, we have a budget, I think, Herb. What did you have figured out?
$117,000. And I think the quote that we got was 109 or 111,000 from Peckham's to do that.
Did we ever work out so we didn't have to pay an extra mobilization fee, a quarter mile?
You're gonna have to. Well, hopefully, because what we're gonna do is now we're gonna do it for, they're not just gonna come and charge us $500 for an hour's work. We're gonna use them for half a day or that, because they're gonna shim that whole Chapman Road, that whole hill, and they're gonna shim all that, and then they're gonna do some Louis Road for that we're gonna take care of for Louis, take care of ours.
Well, if that's 117, should we go to 120 and only take what we need? Remember, 23,000 of that is going to be our money we put in the budget.
You're saying that 23,000 is already budgeted.
It's already budgeted.
Yeah. So the plan is spending that anyway.
Mhm.
If that's the case, do we just need the 100, because we were planning on spending it 23 as
Yeah,
well.
I think we're fine.
Yeah. It's fine with me. I just think that even if we don't do paving here next year, the cost of $2,000 in nickels and dimes, it's gonna take an interest. Paving is gonna be that much more next year. We'll be
Absolutely.
$2,000 more paving anyway, so we better get the paving done.
Minimum,
And the road's gonna be worse. So you're gonna have even more, because you guys do more work to it to get the road back more.
And Mike, I have a question. Are we doing the correct thickness too?
2 inch, 20 feet, exactly what we're supposed to do.
That's my other question. I know Tyler has brought that up, saying the more you bring it down, the quicker it's gonna go through.
If you go from 2 inch to 1.5 inches, you can cut about 7 years off that road. For a half an inch difference, that road will last you 20 years.
No, that was my question, because I know that was a concern that was brought up, we can't keep, cutting it down, because then, like you just said, cuts
And
and
the
then
road
cuts
is
that.
20 feet, what they're supposed to be, because for so many years, they said, if we go 18 feet, we can go further down. Well, what'd you go, 10 feet more further? So 20 feet is what your state is supposed to be, all your roads are supposed to be 20 feet wide, so 20 feet. Especially now with bigger trucks going on these roads,
Absolutely.
around some of these corners, that just, and these truck drivers don't slow down. either.
No, it's not just truck drivers, it's regular vehicles. Don't we know?
You're not one of them, are you?
you or me.
You gotta listen.
We're gonna make a resolution, or-
Certain
You
neighbors.
know, I don't, do we have to make a
Oh,
resolution
no,
next month?
Yes, you have to authorize me to start the paperwork. It's gonna take 30 days to get bonds up, get bonds process done, at least.
Not my favorite thing in the world to do, but I'll make the resolution to start the bond process. You do paving,
Motion by Donald,
I'll second it.
second by Andrea. Any other comments, conversation? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to also say something that this is going to be a tough budget year.
One second, I just want to clarify the dollar amount, 100,000.
100,000. Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Can we do roll call?
Hmm?
Can we do roll call?
I mean, it's just authorizing them to.
Start the
to
process.
Start the process. We'll roll call only.
Actually, you never need to do roll call.
Keep quiet. We like them.
Exactly.
Should makes you do more work. I'm trying to work for you here.
No, you're
I'm
not.
trying to save you some work.
No, you're not.
Yes, I was. So I think that when we look at the budget this year, we have to take into consideration that our assessment went up by $20 million. And, we're always playing catch up. Always playing catch up on paving, equipment funds. So I think we have to take a serious look at it this year. Nobody will like
Take
to
a
hear
serious look at it every year.
a more serious look. So,
We're going with the one up until now.
sometimes I wonder,
No salary increase.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said last year we should look at it this year.
Yep.
We have a fortunate part because $8,000 of our general fund falls off because that was our cost for reassessment. So we have the ability to look at that.
So for the record, I'm not going to be here next month for this meeting. So if we want to do planning before I go
Next-
away,
The next meeting will be releasing the initial budget.
I'm not going to be here.
We won't be doing any work on it. If you remember our process, we introduced the budget at the September meeting. We have our budget meetings after that, after people have had a chance to look at it.
So you're good.
Just let me know.
Okay. Anything else, sir? So afterwards, I want to point some things out to you on the supervisory report, so we can look at that.
Yeah.
So I just need to,
We gotta do-
I just need to submit what we're asking for before next meeting, correct?
Yeah, 2%.
Required. It will be in maybe tomorrow,
Maybe,
maybe tomorrow.
okay. You also owe us the financial report for last year.
Maybe
They're
tomorrow.
due in July.
I'll
May-
talk to our treasurer.
Maybe you could have someone else talk to your treasurer when he gets home tonight.
Oh, no, I'll talk to her. I'm part of that too, so.
Okay. Supervisory report, county updates. The biggest thing that I have is number one, our sales tax increase for what we're gonna get next year. In 2021, our distribution was, let me get the right line here, $22,001. We have an increase to $26,124. That's how well sales tax is doing, based on everything. So that looks pretty good. We'll have an extra $4,000 to play with in the general fund.
It's next year's 26,000 what?
26,124. Up from $22,001. Next topic is census. This isn't such good news. Our census went from, where did I put that? Well, you really screwed up my papers when you took them. Our census went from 958 in 2010. It went down to 857. I will tell you that I don't believe it. I don't believe we lost 80 residents. I say that for a lot of reasons. All our houses are filled, full. We got new houses being built. We've had family moving in, despite the fact we lost 4 residents this month. We don't know it. We don't know it. We don't know where that happened. But I just haven't seen that many people leave or die
Censuses are only, is that a word, censuses,
since I.
census and whatever. They're only as good as the people who respond to them.
And I don't think, you said too, Cam, they didn't have anybody going around.
They have no, they have people with knock on doors.
We
and
didn't,
send
we
it in.
never got a census card.
So
So you weren't counting.
But then, weren't they doing it like electronically? Didn't they say?
But a lot of people.
They did.
That's
right, I forgot, sorry, after I said that.
the real problem is that the people didn't go out and knock. I see another problem here. If I look at Whitehall Town, Whitehall Town, pardon? I suspect that because Whitehall only lost 20 people in 10 years, and that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, did they do it by zip code?
No, they're not supposed to do it by zip code. They're supposed to by census block.
I know, but when they asked us the information on the thing we did, we had to give them our mailing address, and that's the zip code.
It doesn't matter. They're supposed to have it outlined by census code.
I tried to be one of their people, the census people. They didn't even get back to us until May. In order, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm busy now, bye.
The problem is that I've talked to some people who did the census, and they said it wasn't done properly, period. 80.
They count illegal. I mean, I'm not on board with the fact that. They don't have to be a citizen.
Yeah, and if there's not that many workers
How many people live in the house?
on the farm and stuff.
We'll see. So anyhow, going from there. That means that our state aid will go down by 10%. I know in fact it has anything else, state aid, if we get, what do we get, 2,300, 3,000 from the state, I can look that up.
About like $30.
More like 300.
Or 300.
Supervisory report, you can tell what it was supposed to be last year. I gave up my supervisory report. Go back to the budget page.
Meeting was 3640.
So I'll probably lose about $360. Not bad, but every nickel counts. Okay, any other questions on the census?
Oh, we can't argue with them about that.
No?
It was done in 2010 and then 2020, so.
Every 10 years.
Start registering your critters.
Yep.
I was trying to look and find, someone sent me. Let me see if I can find it quick. She sent me 3 years average, or three censuses.
We always gone up. I don't think we've ever gone down.
So in 2000,
More people moving in.
in 2000, we were 871. In 2010, we're 938, sorry. In 2020, we're 857, so
So it was 938 in 2010, not 958.
938, sorry. We lost 8.64% of our population, 81 people. So, doesn't make sense to me, but
Nope.
hopefully they'll have enough reverberations from people who do it again. Okay, need a motion to accept the supervisory report.
Make the motion or resolution to accept this as a report. Good night.
Motion by Don, second by Put them both down. Any questions?
I gave it to
Comments?
Mike.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next item of business. Stole my,
Oh, will you knock it off?
she stole my agenda again.
He loses everything and it's my fault. Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And then you can lose that.
Okay, supervisory report done, county updates, communications. The strange thing is, it's talking about the stimulus fund of the county. We got $11 million. We're gonna be able to recapture almost $7 million just based on lost revenue over the past couple of years. So that's good. Budget starts. Budget's gonna be a little easier this year, but not for the county, but not quite that much. The next is cannabis opt-out.
That
So,
was supposed to be tabled until September.
Yeah, so we had a full board here.
Well,
That'll be in January.
I'll be in January.
But that's what we put in our minutes that we approved.
Well, what we approve is only good till our next board meeting and our next decision.
Yep.
Should have corrected the minutes when we, instead of,
We didn't correct it earlier. We did the minutes. Now we're changing it.
okay, I'm just telling you what the minutes said.
Well, if we're gonna change the law and opt-out, we need time to do the laws. And it's gotta be done by December 1st. Gonna be pushing it. If we decide we want to bifurcate and do opt-out or stay in or not have smoking places here, we'll have to do that either also. Andy will not be here in September. That's a new piece of information. A little to you, I do know, and I do know what Tammy's preferences are. She said it right here in open meeting.
I think we know where everybody stands.
So I will vote her position. Because she was here and passed anyways.
I
I
would
think the
just,
only, oh, let's go ahead.
I would just like to say this about it. I'm in favor of it, not the smoking, but just the cannabis. Only because you know where the stuff is coming from. It's not somebody's backyard. It's not Guatemala. It's not wherever. And traveling where I travel, I get down by the Mass border. I know a lot of people who go over the Mass border and go to those. They said the shops are clean, the shops are nice. It's not like, you know, Joe Dirt comes into town and sets up a hot dog stand and sells pot out of it. And my only, I don't know if it's a concern, but my thought on it is if you look at the list of towns here that we have on our census sheet, and all of them are voting to opt out for now,
Except for Whitehall.
except for what, if we vote to opt out, and then somebody comes in and says, we wanna put a cannabis, shop, whatever, somewhere, it's gonna be a mad rush for everybody to change their law. And if all these towns along the border, which is probably where they're gonna wanna set up to try to pull from Vermont as well, all these towns along the border, all of a sudden change their mind, everybody's in. What chance does little old Hampton have of actually getting anything out of this? They're gonna go to a bigger town or whatever. But if we are in with just the sale, the retail sale of cannabis, they may not even talk to anybody else. They may just come directly to us to set up. And it's not like, I understand that we're not gonna see a massive windfall from taxes on this. We're gonna make money, yes. But something in the town can draw more to the town. If we have nothing, we're gonna continue to have nothing. If we can, start to build little by little, we're gonna draw more business into the town.
I agree.
That's my thought on the whole matter.
The only place that anyone's gonna set up a cannabis shop in Hampton is on Route 4. That's where the traffic is.
Or 22.
No traffic. It'll be Route 4. You got
Which is
4,000
fine,
you got
because
4,000
by the propane tank, they could pick up a lighter and get their cannabis all.
Maybe now that Celestine has passed away, they'll want to piece off that property.
That's my thought. That's just thinking out loud. We can vote whatever way you want. I'm fine with voting to not table it, but to opt out for now and change our mind later, but.
I
So-
think we should just jump in with both feet. I mean, why not strike when the iron is hot? If nobody else is gonna be doing it, why should we just sit there and follow suit? Why can't we be a leader of the pack?
I'd like to be the leader of a pack of something else other than that, but I'm not on the board, so.
But it's.
Oh, so would I.
If it's just the sale of it, it's not like they're smoking it here.
Well, they're already
Yeah,
smoking
right.
here.
I was just gonna say, they're gonna buy it, they're gonna smoke it in their car as they're driving.
As they do now.
I was at the bank in Glens Falls National Bank, going in to deposit something. There's a group of kids outside the bank smoking.
Yeah.
Passing the roach around. Oh, well.
They're everywhere and they're doing it. I mean, with stuff
You get
they're
your
buying
hand
from wherever.
Sorry?
Did you get your hit?
No, I went like this.
I
I'm
don't
not gonna
smoke it,
smoke it,
I
I'm
don't use it. I know a lot of people that do.
So I will let the board decide. I will let the board decide. We can either do it tonight, I'll vote Tammy's position, or I'll wait till September and vote Andy's position. I know how they do it.
So I'm opposed to it. When I articulated it before, I don't think anybody's gonna change anybody's idea, and it's okay that we disagree.
Right.
And that's fine. You're right, Dave, I believe, for the same reasons Don articulated. I think she is, I think she would be a yes vote.
Mhm.
So
She said it in the meeting.
so if you want to bring it to a vote, go ahead, and I will be a no vote, because I'm opposed to it. I don't like the way it looks. I think it makes people lazy. I prefer not to have anybody do it.
So would I.
So, but that's just me, antiquated thinking perhaps.
Maybe the center will draw a lot of population base back.
We can bring people back.
I'm sorry, that just came in my head. I had to say it. It's up to the board. If you want to make a resolution, it's fine. If you want to wait till September, that's fine too.
Let's wait till September. Let's push it off. I mean, we've got till December to do it, so.
Well, you got to, if you're going to
No.
vote her
So
position.
you got, when's the last one we can do it? November?
I was gonna say, but then if you gotta do that public hearing stuff.
September is the last date. We'll have to do our public hearings, our local laws, everything else too.
I think just to stay with what was said last time,
Yeah.
we'll do it in September. It's-
That'd be fine.
September's good.
Okay.
Everybody expects the thing to be done.
You want to go on the record what your position is?
I'm gonna vote yes.
Okay. I what then, what,
Your yes is to opt in?
Yes,
Just
what about
for the
smoking?
sale.
not smoking.
Okay.
Just a sale.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, noise ordinance, Mr. Meyer has delivered it. I sent out to you guys a month ago. I hope you had a chance to review our noise ordinance. I will tell you that in his memo, he talked about a number of things. The biggest thing is that, I've said this before, is that even though we have a noise ordinance, it's very hard to get someone to write a ticket on it, because it becomes in court, it becomes a he said, you said. Also, they look for, I mean, anyone can see this. Also, they say that the biggest thing is to have noise meters and have noise meters verified by people. So, you know, you look at it.
The decibel level, and we need some kind of meter to read that decibel level.
Yep. And we would have to meet everyone's houses. Because someone calls me if there's noise level. And I get up there, there's no more noise. So I spent, you know, you go out and it's not there, so I understand that. I will leave up to the board what they want to do. Having it in place is not harmful. I just want to ensure people understand that it's very hard to get convictions on noise unless you have witnesses, unless you have decibel levels. Then it's up to the court. Yes,
So can the homeowners buy their own decimal meter
they could.
and, you know, say, well, the decibel levels were from this to this, between this time and this time, at least they're documenting it.
Mhm.
And then if they call, they can show that to the sheriff, and then can that be,
My only concern
I
with
guess, or is that just gonna be like,
that would be witnessing it. Someone would witness it.
Well, if you've got recordings, I mean, everybody has cell phones, everybody uses cell phones now. All you have to do is just take a recording of it.
that's why I'm asking, I was asking for, you know, because that was the question that I was thinking.
You're a gentleman over there, John.
Yes.
I know, on that noise ordinance, that, my neighbor and stuff, and the state cops came, and the noise level was still there and stuff, but because there is no ordinance, they can't enforce it, so he says, he'll text me back, there ain't no ordinance over here, so you know.
And I will say that I know from the sheriff's office that they probably
State
won't.
cops came over there, I mean, even came to my house, and he had a four-wheeler over there with no exhaust on it. And he was getting out of the car, then the kid next door cranked it up, and that's what I'm putting up with. So, I mean, he heard it, and yes, I've done a lot with the cell phone and recorded it. And bonfires, I mean, music and stuff, like the bonfires, I don't care about them. Going 12 feet from his house, the one's works out 19. Noise level, I mean, my 10-hour shifts, and I get up at 3:30 in the morning. I have to listen to this stuff until 1. 2 o'clock, that's kind of crazy.
It's up to the board to pass it. I will tell you that,
Yeah, but I mean,
based on feedback from the sheriff and the state trooper, they will not write tickets.
there's an ordinance in the half.
They will not write tickets.
If they came in our house and heard it, they still can't do nothing if they're in our house and hear it.
What we don't understand is that the amount of work they have to do today for discovery takes them several hours. Discovery.
I
They
find
have, they have to be ready for court in 2 weeks. That means they have to do the investigation, they have to do discover, they have to do all the write-up, it has to go to DA, it has to go to the attorneys to write them up. I mean, we've had, I'm not saying I don't want to do it, I'm telling you, I'm warning you.
You don't
that
do
is-
next one. I mean,
Well, it-
I'm
it
telling you,
comes
I'm
down to
warning you.
Quality of life as well.
I understand that. I'm telling you that it is not as easy you think to get anyone convicted on anything today. We had someone rape a 14-year-old girl who was out on bail the next morning, walked away and gone.
That's because of our lovely governor that we have.
That's not just our governor, it's the legislature.
Well, yeah, but they
Also, 'cause
put
they
that
passed a
thing, yeah, so now people get slapped on the wrist and told to come back and they don't.
And attorneys file, even if they are arrested, attorneys file, because there's about 12 or 14 new, things that they can file on because of COVID. They file, and then the district attorney, the ADA or the district attorney has to write up a whole list of what they filed on, and then it goes to the judge, and the judge has to sit there and make a decision on every single one of them, and that's going on right now.
So,
Look at their own hand and snap the radio. Yeah, don't worry about all that.
so I will leave it up to the board what we want to do. You've had the resolution. There's timeframes in there, when it takes place and when it's in effect.
So I'd be in favor of supporting the noise. Resolution. And I understand what you're saying, that it doesn't have a lot of teeth. To my thoughts is it's better than having nothing.
Mhm.
At least it's a document that kind of outlines what compliance should be.
Well, and not only that, but people will sit there and if you go up to them and say, you know what, there is a noise ordinance, they don't have to know that all of this stuff has got to happen. They will sit there and
You wanna
say,
bet?
okay, you know what?
You want to bet?
Some people.
You want to bet these people know the laws better than we do?
I'm sure.
They knew the discovery
But
better
there's
than we
some people that will.
do. I would like the DA to come over and explain how many cases they have to let go because of that. I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you understand that when the DA's office has all these things they've got to do, they're going to stick with the high priority items. So.
Can I make a motion to adopt the noise ordinance resolution?
We need to, no,
We need to set
we need
levels.
to introduce, you have an introduction resolution. We need to do the introduction resolution. We then have to schedule a public hearing. Once the public hearing is gone, I'm not quite sure. I have to find out if there is a permissive referendum on this one or not. I forgot to ask that question, but you do have the introduction resolution in front of you. Okay, and that simply introduces it as as an action of the board. So we can set the public hearing.
Right, so it's just like every other local law when we make one.
Now, this is an ordinance.
This goes through the same process as
process.
local law,
See
Okay.
where-
but it's not a law, so it doesn't have to be filed with the state.
Okay.
Okay.
So Mike introduce this.
So before I second it, this is a question, this isn't the actual written law or ordinance.
Yes, it is.
This is the actual written ordinance.
The actual written ordinance starts on page 1 of 12.
Missing the 11. in my packet. 11 was missing out of my packet.
Yeah, I noticed that. I didn't have time to check it. The first part is a confidential attorney-client privilege relation communication. See, I let it out vague.
So in terms of context, 50 decibels is the equivalent of a light car noise levels, traffic heard at 50 feet or an air conditioning unit running at 20 feet. 75, which are noise levels are considerable intrusive, it's equivalent of a chainsaw running at 50. Not sure if I agree with the 50 decibels. I do definitely agree with the 75. But I mean, if it's just light traffic going by, that means anybody can complain about it, they're driving by their house. If they live within 50 feet of the road.
Also, before they accept a piece of equipment, they have to make sure it's calibrated in certain periods of time.
I mean, I don't have a problem seconding the ordinance, the public or the, accepting the application of the ordinance. Because we're gonna have to get into some discussion prior to actually turning it into law. Are we gonna be required to own the piece of equipment, and have it calibrated, or, you know, what are the levels, which is, you know, just a matter of just some semantics to get the thing through, but.
Noise control requirements established by this ordinance shall be administered and enforced jointly by town enforcement officers, officials authorized by the town board, and at all times by police officers defined by New York State Criminal Procedure Law. An alleged violation of this provision of this ordinance may be established on the verbal and written complaint of at least one person or personally observed by such town enforcement officers. Officials authorized by the board and at all times by any police officers defined by New York State criminal law. So
Are we required to have a,
we will have to appoint someone or an official authorized by the town board. So it's either we pay someone to do it or we donate our time to do it.
and we would have to have the equipment?
Such thing.
The other thing is that nighttime noise travels way further than daytime. Daytime, no one, noise things irrelevant. Nighttime, when people want to go to bed, 10 o'clock or something. That's when it's big, it travels big time.
I feel for you. I just need to point out,
Yeah.
this isn't this, the
not a cut and
cure-all
It's
as
not
we
gonna be
think
a
it's gonna
magic
be.
wand.
And I don't mind passing the ordinance because there's other situations where it may control.
Yeah.
But it's only gonna control those people who want to be controlled.
But
It's like a
But
speed
she
limit
said
sign.
if there is an ordinance and they see it, then they say, oh, I gotta cut it down. You don't need to be enforced as long as they know they're aware of it. And that, you know, right now, there's nothing, so they are blown off. It's there. Then you can't blow it off.
Tell the people to consistently go up Route 4 at 100 miles an hour. They know what the law is.
Speed limits are, speed limits are only as good as actually follow.
Okay, so we got, you need a copy of this to write it down.
We have a motion and a
We got it.
second on the.
So Donnie, you
I'll
seconded it?
second it to move it along.
Before we second the vote on it, we also need to set the public hearing at the next town board meeting at 7:15,
7:15,
whenever that is.
September.
Was that your
16th.
motion?
September 16th.
Was that your motion?
It wasn't, but it can be.
We'll do it all at once on September 16th for public hearing.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, I just had this here. We got that noise ordinance.
I don't have
Someone took mine.
a- No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm okay.
Here, I'll share it with you.
So stimulus funds.
Stimulus fund usage, I passed out my proposed stimulus fund usage. Will this year be finalized, but I want to make sure we know what we've got, so Kim can know where to expense accounts to put the money in. Amount received $92,749. Amount received in 2021 is $46,374.50. My amount in 2022 is the exact same amount. I will say that I'm proposing that we use $6,523.44, $1,489 and $1,263 to recoup revenue loss by not being paid by chips. Okay. We spent $2,029 on materials, meeting revenue, materials and meeting equipment for this. My proposal is to reduce that, to use that because that was a direct expense of COVID, which is justified. We also, to date, as of July 31st, we have lost revenue in the Justice Fund of $10,048.72, which is the actual amount plus 4.5%. We lost, that's my proposal to use that. Capital improvements for the town emergency center and shelter. The improvements of town emergency center was $17,517.54, which reimburses for the construction and improvement. Because this is the emergency center of the town when there's a declared emergency and when the pandemic. Water, there's a couple issues. The first issue is that there's sulfur in it. Second issue is that the sulfur causes issues with our water heater. And if you go out to the barn and you smell the cold water, you don't smell anything.
Oh,
Just
turn on that hot water.
not the cold water.
Oh, yeah, we just did the one in the pump at the hose, turn that on to wash off the trucks, you're gonna get that smell.
I didn't do that, didn't do it there. I did it at the tap. But the problem is when you do look at the hot water, we have a normal pH rate of 7.2 coming out of the 7.2 point, I can't remember, 7.2, 7.4 coming out of the hot water heater. That pH is almost 8, and that causes issues with the trucks. So we're looking at doing a 40,000 grain metered water softener for $1,900. And he also wants to install a 1/2 union on the hot water tank for $80. And what will end up happening is they'll put chlorine in there, and the chlorine will go in, and I think I learned a lot about this, is that apparently the smell is caused by bacteria. And the chlorine kills the bacteria, so we should also look at potentially in the future putting chlorine in our well every once in a while. I'm also looking at one of the issues is that it's very distinct with the water heater. We don't have that problem as much with our on-demand water heater. So in consideration, we don't use a lot of hot water there. So it may be, we need to look at this a little more as it sits in the tank, because you don't draw a lot. You're usually washing hands and stuff, and sometimes a couple of buckets of hot water is maybe sitting in there causing lots more issue. I'll do some more research on that and potentially do an on-demand hot water heater and see what the capacity is on that. We've had very little problem with this one that we've had for 10 years. Someone told me they wear out in a few years. Well, this one's been going for 10 years. 9 years.
Tank is where the bacteria can grow, so if it's sitting in there for a long time, that's where it's sulfur. So you know, the smell of the bacteria.
Well, some hot water tanks have anodes, and they're magnesium anodes, which are designed to break down. I talked to Joe Williams. He says that we don't have anodes in that hot water heater.
How old is that hot water heater?
3 or 4 years.
But it's an 80 gallon,
There you go.
we use it to wash our hands. So what do you use, gallon and a half every time?
Well, we use buckets here and there.
But even an on-demand would be more than enough.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
And they
Circulate
make
the water, water's gonna
that's-
sit there. all
That's
the time.
electric, correct? They make electric on-demand. At least every 4 or 5 years, it's
Yeah.
still, I mean, what's the life of a water heater? 10?
I don't know.
It depends on when it was built. It was built in the 60s, it's still going on, a lot of all of us, but if it was built in the last 3 or 4 years, it's only the last 3 or 4 years.
So without the consideration for the hot water tank, it's about $2,000 to do that. I also got a quote from Culligan. Culligan was about $800 or $900 more. I think it was $2,700. That did not include the union. But we get some put a union in force for less expensive. The water heater. This quote I got for $1,980 was from Green Mountain Water Treatment in Rutland. The quote I got was, the other quote I got from Culling was considerably more, like $700, as I said. The issue is that my only thought process, and I'll go either way, doesn't matter to me. It's Culligan has a brand name, they're always around, you got dealers all around. What happens, this guy goes out of business, you don't have the support, because this is just one individual. You don't have support of the individual if it goes down. We'll have to find someone else. I don't know if there's anyone else that handles that brand. I will do some research. I've got the name of the company at home, but that's the only thing that I sort of look at. I don't think Joe does water softeners.
Well, how many people have water softeners in their house? Okay,
Ain't nothing to.
we've had problems. We've had to replace our water softener before. It's no big deal.
I'm not saying it was. I'm saying, do we want some that we have that is a one-person shop? Or do you want
You know,
some?
I guess my opinion would be to sit there and just take that shot.
What's the rest of the board think?
That was just- It doesn't give me pause to invest with that guy, you know. In some ways, I think it's nice to support small business, you know, but, so.
I don't matter. I don't mind either way. I just wanted to bring it up.
Sure. No, I think it's a reasonable thought.
Okay.
I think we need to seriously look at just look at the on-demand hot water heater.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I know there's $120 for a 5-gallon bucket of them, but if you got the pool tablets, you pop the cover on that and drop one in it about every 2 or 3 weeks. I bet you money it would help, it would at least help. It's just like shocking it, it's just gonna sit in there and dissolve, and it's gonna run through the system and.
So here's the kicker, where are you gonna find corn dogs? That's what I'm trying to find out.
You can order them online, I end up getting them online.
But either way, I mean, figure, this is a good idea. I mean, if you can use this money to, everybody agrees the water's a mess. If we can fix it and make it better for the garage. and make
The
it
guys
better for the-
need fresh water hall, that's all.
You know,
Already know by one of them things at Home Depot for $120.
The bubbler,
In a 5-gallon jug of water. I'm not in charge of that. Who is in charge of it? I would love to know what. We hired you to take care of that.
Yep, let me ask a question at work, because we used to be in the water business. I know we have one sitting in our office that we don't use anymore, and it hooks to the water, but it has a filter on it.
I mean, them things are self-sufficient.
No, it's a self-filling.
They're cold water.
Yeah. If they're not going to use it and I can get the pieces, parts, because I used to work on them. If I can get all the parts that I need, let me check and see, and if we can do it, all we need is a saddle valve to hook into a water.
But
But
I mean, why do you need to hook into a water line?
Where do you get the 5-gallon jugs?
Right
You
now,
buy it
the
at
cell
shops.
phones.
yeah, everybody
Car
sells them.
phone,
We don't have an account right now. We don't have an account in the shop.
You.
You got a
I'm
credit card?
gonna spend my money.
No, it's
You
not
got a-
credit card.
You got a credit card?
We do have a new credit card.
And I think we do, I think Williams has it too, Williams Hardware.
Williams Hardware.
Do they have it in water?
I think so, because we were using them, the Greenstone's got the same kind of problem, lousy water, we got a 5-gallon.
No, we got them down the road.
We use
They're all over.
Misty
They're all
Meadows
over
comes
down
and
there.
brings us
Or-
stuff. Or the account,
Or-
or
10, 15 of them.
it's an expense. so you
Or
gotta-
you can connect with a vendor, because Proctor High School has one for our water up there.
Crystal water.
Someone comes in, drops the thing off, takes the empties out.
Curbs up to shop for that. You're gonna look for
I was gonna try and do it for free, but if you guys want to sign on. that's
a,
fine.
no, I said you can look for the machine, he's gotta figure out the water.
Just want to have better.
These
drinkable
are
water.
not the 5-gallon water bottles. These would, plumb right into your water.
Plumb
line
right into
it.
With the filter, and then you don't have to.
What do you ain't gaining nothing there. You're going through the same water thing now.
We got filters on them now.
You got filters on them
Yeah,
now.
filters on now, it doesn't help. I'll see if they can be changed over. If they can be changed over, it's just sitting there doing
Home
nothing.
Depot will
Okay.
sell them things for $100.
Yep.
The same, put 5 gallon jug in them. Maybe they're $125. You plug it into a 110 outlet. You can get hot water, cold water out of it, whatever what you want. You want hot water or make cup coffee, you want hot.
I think that was a good report. I think this is a fun place to spend money.
Okay. We will then have $3,400 to buy hats.
Just a ridiculous thing to say. I don't know.
We get MAGA hats or Build Back Better hats.
I want 2 brands.
Okay, so we'll do that.
The 3,400, if we don't use it by the end of the year, I say we go back to the tankless hot water heater. That idea for out in the
Well,
garage.
we can look at that now. I want to look at it anyways, because this really isn't going to solve the entire problem.
Right.
I mean, Herb said it, we've got an 80-gallon water tank. The water sits there. What do we replace? 10 gallons a month,
Something like that.
if that?
Sounds too big for all
So make them 30 gallons.
So we'll look at that and I'll do some research on that stuff. So that's my proposal. Is everyone all right with that? And want to make a motion to move forward and make these transfers?
Resolution to
expenditures?
move forward with the stimulus funds as presented.
Do I have a second? Second by Andrea. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll go do a roll call.
Really?
It's money. You're the one that said it's money.
Just a minute, I'm still writing.
She's still right.
Oh my God. No, Councilman Patrica,
Yes.
Councilwoman Taryn, absent. Councilman Sadie,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sweeney,
Yes.
Supervisor O'Brien,
Yes. Carried. New business, you have your budget forms. Please turn your budget forms in.
Don't lose it.
Okay. That's done. Those of you who haven't, I need the budget forms back by the 1st of September. Okay. Geez, I forgot the judge. I got a sheet here for her. That's one of my desks. Okay. I knew I forgot something. So we talked about budget, we talked about water softener. I did not realize this. Maybe I did, just didn't think about it. Is that we do not have short-term disability for our employees. I think that it is important that if someone's out, they have some sort of income to rely on. Temporary disability in the state is approximately $60 a year for our 2 employees. They will get for that up to $175 a week for that. So that's what we looked at that. Wait a minute. Yeah, read the right one. So I believe that we should get this and put it on for our employees.
does the town pay for that?
Town pays for short-term disability, yes.
What's the disability and paid family leave for 479?
Well, that's a separate one. There is in New York State paid disability and paid family leave insurance application. Both of these we're not required to have as a municipality. The county's not even required to provide these. This would be funds that if we decided to accept that, the employees would pay the The employees would pay the premium for this. The town does not pay the premium for this. This is for the employees.
So the $60 is for the employee.
No, the $60 is short-term disability, which we would pay. The disability,
They both say disability paid.
wait a minute. I didn't catch that. Okay, so that we pay the $60, they, whatever the family leave benefit is, they would pay for it if they so choose.
Which would be $479 per year.
Per year.
Well, I guess you'd have to ask them
I
if
was
this is
gonna
something
say-
that they want.
Right.
We have to decide if we want to authorize it.
Well, if they have to pay for it, you might as well ask them if they
No,
want.
they
we
can
have to
opt out.
authorize it before we ask them.
Right. Because then they can either say yes or no.
We have to enroll in it before we offer it to them.
So do we have to pay the premium if we have to enroll?
We pay per member.
So if nobody signs up for them.
We don't pay anything.
It's $60 total for both our folks, which they can either use or not use, but at least we can
No,
offer it to them.
no. It's $419, so it'd be 200 and some odd dollars a piece.
Oh, what's
Per
the
year.
$60? I was.
$60 is for short-term disability only.
Okay.
I thought that was the discussion. We're talking about
The
two
second
different
part of it was talking about, do we want to give them, do we want to enroll them in the disability, the paid family leave benefit insurance?
Now, that family paid leave thing, that only pertains for certain things. I mean, for everything, I don't believe, because we have that down to work.
Mhm.
I was thinking like, you take like a woman and she's pregnant,
Mhm.
and she goes out of work for 12 weeks, that's where that money comes in. Now, say for instance, that you stay home with your wife to take care of that for the 12 weeks, you get paid for that. I think that's all that's used for. I don't think it's covered under sick. That's something you want to look into, but I think that family paid leave, I don't think is sick.
Well, I also, I gotta check this. I'm sorry, I didn't check it.
Because,
But I think you have to use your sick time before you can go into disability.
I don't think so, not with this family paid leave, that's a total.
Not for,
different-
not for FML, whatever it is, the acronym is for the family medical leave is totally different than it's, so if you have to stay home to take care of a loved one, you would use your family medical leave.
Right.
It wouldn't go into like your sick time or
Right.
whatever. That's what
I
family
think it's
medical
only-
leave is, because we deal with that at the school. So if I have to take care of you or mom, I would have to fill out a form for family medical leave, and it does not touch my sick time that I require because it's going into a different category.
So my suggestion is that we authorize the short-term disability, and next month I'll bring back the information on more information on family medical leave, if that's the way we want to proceed.
I have no problem, but my only concern is that both letters say the exact same thing. For
No.
the unpaid family leave.
This one says your premium for, I don't know why they did this.
We'll figure it out.
And
Table
then,
this now and then bring it up next month.
yeah, I think that's.
'Cause
the best way to do it.
I know where this letter is because I did the quotes and they came up and said disability is, actually, it's $1,
Because it does sound like you're talking about,
$1.50.
it does sound like you're talking about two different things. You're talking about one short term, and then the second one, you're talking about the FMLA.
Well, when I did the quote online, they said $60 for disability and then this for the other. So,
I think we just need to do a little more homework on it, bring it back.
okay. All right. Done. I don't have anything else to bring before people tonight. Any other comments?
Internet? Is there anything more about internet?
I told you all the information I know, Angie. I can't change the answer. Yeah, it's my cell phone. I can't change the answer. Pardon?
I got a letter saying there's a new company coming.
Yes, that's right, but it's not going down your street.
It's a satellite. It doesn't have to go down the street.
Okay.
Yeah, there is.
Good luck with satellite. Oh, that's Usenet?
No,
No, that's
I've never heard of the company before.
It's Starlight.
Yeah.
See, I ran addresses, you go online, I run addresses. They can get it on Manor Lane, but they can't get it, at the town hall. Can't get into my address.
And they can get
I
it
quit.
mine, but I don't want it.
Because if it's a satellite, you have to have a view of
Clear
the
view
southern,
of
a
the sun.
clear view of the southern sky.
No, but
No, not this one.
Starlight.
Not Starlight?
No, he's gonna just have so many satellites in that sky, so we cover everybody.
Okay,
I'll make a resolution to pay the bills.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Any other business?
Any other business, public comment, anything?
Already said that.
I know. Let's see out there one more time.
Yeah,
I'll make a resolution to adjourn.
motion to adjourn, second,
I'll second it.
second by Andrea. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're done.